Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream. Today was an absolutely historic day for British Constitution and the British system as we had the proclamation of King Charles III, and we have to start getting used to not calling him Prince Charles anymore. It's quite difficult. I've been watching the mainstream media channels. Even they still make mistakes and keep calling him Prince Charles for some reason. And I'm going to go to the live chat as well. But today we're going to be talking about the ceremony, because today was the constitutional part of it, the accession and the council in general. It was a fascinating day because we had, for the first time in history, we had Liz Truss as Prime Minister and Penny Mordaunt as the president of the council, essentially, the head of the council, being female and present in historical times. Any other time until now, any other female in the room just happened to be female, but they were queens. So this is the first time we've had that situation. Now, today, as I say, was part of the paperwork, the constitutional level. Coronation is even more important on a magical level, because that's the relationship between the church and God and the king. And so King Charles has come out to essentially confirm on a constitutional level the change of his role from Prince of Wales, where he was allowed to have a different hat to be able to be politically involved and socially involved, getting involved with the World Economic Forum and hanging out with the lobby groups and all the green crap nonsense. And he has officially accepted his new role, his new hat, which means that he's rejected all those political and social causes. He's now completely staying out of political decisions, so that's good to hear. But again, early days, right? We will see how he acts as king. But this was the moment when the ceremony started with Penny Mordaunt.
My lords, it is my sad duty to inform you that Her Most Gracious Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, has passed away. That was
the beginning of the ceremony, and of course then they got King Charles to get involved with the actual documents and sign it.
I now invite Your Majesty to sign both proclamations.
Now, it is extremely important to make sure that, of course, King Charles III actually acts as king and to protect the constitution, because we have a lot of problems in the country and around the world with globalism going too far. In fact, the next video at 4 p.m., we're going to be talking about a memory from President Ronald Reagan and Her Majesty the Queen when they were at an event and they were actually discussing the rise of globalism and the centralization of all powers. They were against it, those two, the Queen and Reagan. But of course, Prince Charles, as the Prince of Wales, was slightly in favor of centralizing certain causes. And we have a big problem with those movements around the world. So hopefully, if obviously he has no choice but to protect the constitution. Otherwise, there will be absolute chaos. So he's going to have to change his hat. He's going to have to reject those centralizing ideologies from the Greta Thunbergs and to the Klaus Schwabs and everybody else. And one of the interesting things was, of course, they've cancelled football matches this weekend, but other sports games have been going on. Cricket, we had the first official sports match that had the new version, God Save the King. But this was a moment when they initially gave the moment of silence.
The Queen and her late husband, His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, both have a long history of supporting cricket and England's national sides. We recognise her immense contribution to the nation, across the Commonwealth and around the world. For those who are able, please be upstanding to observe a minute's silence in her memory.
Yes, that was the moment of silence during a cricket match, and England players and everybody else. And this was the moment And I'm going to show you this, the actual national anthem, the new version.
And now, our national anthem, God Save the King.
Well, this is our official new national anthem. Well, it's the same national anthem, but just one word has changed. Let me go to the live chat to you guys, see what you guys I think. I've been looking at some of the comments already. Some people are still skeptical about the new changes, and some people are still pro-British constitution. So we got two sides. One side who are pro-British constitution, and the other side who want to bring it down because of the fear and paranoia that the establishment are not on the side of the people. So my job is here to obviously see what you guys are actually saying. It's quite difficult to actually make sure the actual comments that I put on the screen, they are family friendly, because we want to make sure this channel remains family friendly. Andrew says the monarchy is finished, really. Let me know what you guys think about what Andrew says. And Josh says Charles created the WEF. He will never cancel his membership. Well, they not in terms of the creation, but Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, was involved from the early days, and you know, back in the days, 70s, 80s, and all those days. That was a classic. Obviously, the lobby group that was created. It's just normal to attract all the powerful and the rich people and the politicians because they want to have their own bubble, and it's always been a problem when you create an echo chamber. Toddy says, let's see. Thank you so much for the super chat, Toddy Terrence, saying that we can only hope that the new king remains apolitical and also not to give funds to political entities that may end up potentially cause more problems. So, of course, his first official speech as king, he confirmed and he signed the new, obviously, contract. He has given up all his social and political causes, even when it comes to the charitable fundings and everything else. So all that is gone. And of course, let's just say hypothetically, we live in a messed up country that somehow, for some reason, the monarchy and the crown decides to continue to do all this stuff. Well, it's our right to find out. And it's the right of the people in this country to make sure to stop that from happening and to essentially punish the family. But it is unlikely that they will do it directly. It's absolutely unlikely because of the constitution, the way we have it. The other part of the establishment will completely stop it. But it is quite difficult because my biggest concern is the fact that, yes, King Charles might have said that he's no longer involved with the World Economic Forum. That's not good enough for me because the rest of the establishment are still involved. I'm not really concerned with one person by force because of the constitution saying, he's not involved. We have a situation where that ideology of centralizing all powers is already inside the system. They are everywhere, from the House of Commons to the House of Lords to the other parts of the royal family and the palace. They are already in it. And the ideology is essentially just going around. It's being spread like nonsense. And so it doesn't really matter if King Charles says, oh, well, I'm not going to be involved. Yeah, but the rest of your establishment, the rest of your sovereign establishment is already involved. And the democracy has been undermined. Sovereignty has been undermined. And the will of the people, essentially, in general speaking. That's the problem I have. So while you might say, well, at least on a public level, King Charles is no longer advocating publicly for these sort of ideas, doesn't really matter because it's still happening. They're still doing it, not necessarily just behind closed doors. The rest of the establishment are going out there publicly doing it. So don't be too optimistic, but just because they've lost one public advocate from going on TV to kind of promote these ideologies, it's still happening. But that aside, when it comes to British Constitution, it's still good that it's the continuity is still there. It's still good that the reception has been pretty good and the Constitution has been protected. Now we have to make some changes, especially when it comes to the House of Lords, to be able to depoliticize the House of Lords, to stop all this nonsense, because that is the biggest problem we have. Sort that out, and eventually sort out the problem with the House of Commons as well, because we've been given too much powers to the political class. And the role of the monarchy under the constitutional monarchy, the system we have, was supposed to and is supposed to be absorbing powers to prevent it from being given to the nutters, the political class. That is supposed to be the problem. That is supposed to be the role of the crown. And it's generally worked until now, obviously, on paper. But now, things are changing. In the name of transparency and more democracy, from the mainstream media establishment to the political class, they are tricking people. They're saying that, well, we're actually giving more power to you guys, more say. But in reality, they are taking more power because the more, so-called votes that they give you, even referendums or anything else that happens. In reality, you're giving more power to politicians by creating more political appointees, more political positions, including the police commissioners that were created. You think that people have say now over policing in local areas because we have a police commissioner? Not really. They've just made that role political. So this is the problem we had. Constitutional monarchy was working absolutely much better when it was absorbing those powers without exercising them to prevent the political class from gaining too much power. Now, from Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, his hat, to even William, to Attenborough as a celebrity, to the media, broadcasters and journalists, the BBC and Sky News that do all these political shows, everybody, to the police commissioners, to the Mayor of London and MPs in Parliament, they're all going with the consensus that they've created, and we're just going to have to follow it. Their order, which is basically everything has to be centralized, everything's going towards globalism, and they say, and then there's people on the left who are creating this movement, well, let's turn into a republic. But with what appetite and what solution? If you just say republic for the sake of republic, if you just say, well, let's just elect the president. But the problem we have is that we're being given too much power to politicians. And if you if you think you're going to create that situation, that position, and you elect someone, a political head of state and head of government on top of it, then you're going to increase the political corruption. You're going to increase the cost, obviously, because presidents will have, with their palaces and everything else, look at France and Macron, that's a whole different problem. And also, do you really think that if you elect the head of state, like the head of government, they're going to do what you want? No, they're going to continue with empty promises and broken promises and corruption. There is no perfect system right now. The only system we had was essentially something like the crown in the past, where it was absorbing the powers, so you could actually give real everyday powers and control to the public, the plebs, the commoners, and then we created the House of Commons to be the representatives of the commoners, and now the House of Commons are now filled with the elite. So it's not looking good. But on the other hand, at least the Constitution has been protected, right? So it is absolutely crazy. Let's go to a few more comments on the live chat. When did you last run for political office in your constituency? Get cracking. That's Molina. Last time I ran I think it was 2018. I'm no longer getting involved with politics. I'd rather die in a ditch. With the current political system we have, there's absolutely no point, because the whole system is being run by one wave of ideas anyway. So I'm not saying that nobody else should. Somebody should actually try and make an effort. I just don't have the patience. So some of you guys, the younger ones, could actually get involved there and do that. Let's see. Jamie One says, Christianity did not create the West. The ancient pagans did. Well, it's true, but Jamie One, the Judeo-Christian values, that was obviously embraced and made it into a political establishment in Vatican back in the day. That gave it more structure. And the Judeo-Christian values that were then promoted or essentially spread around by Rome is partly the reason that we have a lot of stuff that we do compared to the other cultures, especially when it comes to the Middle East and the Arab world. So I'm still the defender of Judeo-Christian values, but of course not when it comes to mixing politics and religion. Joseph Daniel says, Maya, you should appear on Channel 4 to be the next peer. Yeah, I mean, firstly, I'm not doing it, but you need to get the consent from the media to become prime minister these days. That's a joke. Let's see what we have. We have comments saying, is the title right? Did Charles reject the WEF membership? Yes, he's basically completely given up, not just this WEF involvement, but also his other social and political causes that he's had, and he's now officially signed a new contract on a constitutional level to give up that hat. And he basically said that it's now down to the others to down the line to do it. So he means basically his children, maybe Prince William and the others who want to basically continue with promoting the green crap ideologies and all that nonsense. So that is the problem. So it's still going to continue. What do we have? Okay, let's go. Ashley says, do Muslims sing a national anthem? Well, yeah, because it's a national anthem. It's not a religious anthem, I guess. So whilst it is linked to, the monarchy is linked to God and church, but the national anthem of each country is national. So if you happen to be Muslim but British, then I guess you can still sing it. So everyone sings the national anthem, as Chester Donnelly says. The nationality doesn't really know religion. Okay. What else do we have here? Dave says, you have a voice, you have a choice, so just say no. Say no to everything. What else do we have? Victor Charlie says, you are controlled opposition. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat, whether I am controlled opposition. I always found the phrase controlled opposition absolutely fascinating, because it's now been overused. Obviously, initially it was created because of the political spectrum and people in politics. Now anybody who's obviously someone like me who's spending the whole time attacking the globalist elite and the globalist movement, I get attacked by the globalists and the ultra Keynesians, the Blairites and all those guys, and I also get attacked by some of the ultra conservatives. I get attacked by all sides, so it's because I don't really want to go with any wave. It's best not to follow figures. It's not best to follow crowds. And some of the people who claim to be the silent majority, they happen to be the loud minority. From the Corbynists to some of the other side as well. Everybody is basically following something like sheep. And then they create these posters saying, I'm the one who's not a sheep. Everybody else is a sheep. But this group, our group, we're not sheep. I'm like, you're literally being sheep as well. You're countering sheep by being sheep. Sheeple. So I'm going to leave you guys because we have in about 12 minutes a big video. As I said, it's an update on the memories of Her Majesty, a conversation that Her Majesty the Queen had with President Ronald Reagan a few decades ago. And they were speaking out against globalism and centralization back in the days. That's a very kind of good video if you want to stay up within the next 11 minutes to watch that. Thank you guys again for all the support over the last couple of days and even the haters in the live chat. Hello everybody to you guys as well, all the trolls. And we're going to come back in about, as I said, in about 11-12 minutes with another video. Thanks again for watching. I'm my TC and we are the media.